live. Okay, good evening, everyone. So I thought it's a good time. I'm sure all of you panicked a little. We have another change inside Stratus. When you log in now and you go to add or edit your listing, it gives you the option to try Realm. And so I have a lot of people panicking, calling me going, what is this? It's like I say, if you have the couple extra minutes to try and go and do it, I know it's really easy to keep on saying, oh, go to the regular add edit. It gives you that option. If you're in a rush and you don't have time to learn it, great. But every time, do you want to share? Every time they give you an option like this, know that Trev is making the change. So in the next couple months, they usually give us a transition period. In the next couple months, it's going to be your add edit function. So just learn it, just muddle through it and learn it, right? I want to try and do another session too about Realm because Realm took over Collaborate. So we were just talking about that a little bit here in the office for you guys online. I don't know how many of you used Collaborate before. It was a really good tool. I didn't use it that often, but it kind of let us chat back and forth with our clients when we were sending them prospect searches and sending them listings, which is great. I don't know, I just never got used to it. So I'm hoping Realm will be better. So I promise I'll do a session on that in the next week or two once I feel confident enough that I've learned it myself. But today we're going to go over the add edit function. And so I'm just going to share my screen here. We're going to Stratus. So basically you just start editing your listing as normal. One moment, I'm just going to get my mouse here. It's up here. Okay, so you're going to log in and you're going to go regular to your search properties and come to your menu. And oh, there you go. Don't you like it when it glitches like that? And some things are glitchy in it already. So if you really can't understand where you're getting something, it is glitchy. Sometimes a function wasn't working yesterday. I'm pretty sure cloning's not working today when I was messing around with it again, but we'll see what works and what doesn't. It's always like that whenever there's a new app. I think somebody's not on mute there. 1 second. I'm just going to, did it stop? Okay. So you just go to your add edit here on the left gray bar on our menu. Okay. No, it's definitely. 1 second. Let me just get that person on mute. Who's the culprit? Here we go. Okay. So we'll go back to share. Okay. So we're going to go here. Now I lost my mouse again. 1 second. Just so that the people online, I find if I don't highlight my mouse, they don't see what I'm pointing at. You guys see my cursor, but they don't necessarily see it clearly, right? So, okay, so we're going to go here to add edit on the left-hand panel. And this is what you're going to come across now. It's going to ask you, do you want to get started? They have a little tutorial kind of thing. They have webinars you can sign into as well. So if you don't 100% get it, or you just want to really understand more, they have webinars that Trev's running as well as my training today. You can try it now or you can continue. So if you're in a mad dash rush to continue, enter your listing and do it that way. But I encourage you all to go try now and come into it. So the interface is really nice. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot clearer than I find the other one was typewritten and small, and it's really easy to miss things when you're entering your listing. I actually just clicked this today. So see, this is a glitch already. I asked it not to show me again for 7 days, but it says that they have a training mode. So you don't have to be nervous about live listing something, because you can go into the training mode and completely fool around with loading it, and it won't actually go live by accident on you if you're nervous to go in and play around with it. So the thing I found most interesting right off the bat is normally when we start to load our listings, we look at it and we enter the address. This gives us a couple different options, right? It lets us load by address. It lets us load by owner, by the PIN number, by the assessment roll number, right? Before we were sort of putting in the address right away and hoping it found it on the map, right? So you can do it a bunch of different ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab something that's listed or not listed right now, and we're going to try and copy that in. We're going to copy that information in as we go along to make up a property that we're pretending to put up for sale today. So let's just see what's in and around the office. We'll pick a property to work with. So we'll go to Toronto, and we all know around the office is E04. Okay, and then we'll pick Dorset Park. That's the little pocket we're in. And how do I know this? Do you guys know anything about the TREB map function? I can go over that quickly as well. But we're EO4 Dorset Park. And I'm going to try and find detach. Okay, so we'll do 9 Ashdean. We'll pretend that's the property that we're loading today. Okay, so I'll go back to our add edit function now. And sorry, that's not the one. Let me just close that one. And I'm going to go 9 Ashdean. Right? Oh, DEAN. Sorry. 1 second. AN. Okay. I'm going to ask it to find it for me. So it found it. And already I'm in love with Realm because what does it do? It half fills out the first page for me now. You guys know when we're scrambling for our listings, it has all of the addresses in there. You might want to double check in case it does something wrong or you've got a wrong address. But very often I was going to Google and going, oh, shoot, what's the postal code for my listing? The one that I'm putting in right now. You don't have to stop and do that. It adds it all nicely for you. So you can see that it says here 9 Ashdean Drive, right? I'm the one loading it. The transaction type. So again, before it was all in blue, was it, or whatever, in the add edit function. Now everything that's a mandatory field has an asterisk beside it. Okay, so those are fields that you can't continue. Hi, how are you? You cannot continue without filling out that mandatory field. Okay, so the one with the star beside it is the one you have to do. So transaction type, we're going to do, it's a for sale listing. Okay, and the property class is going to be residential freehold. Property type is going to be detached. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure it says 9 Ashdean Drive. Okay, apartment, no apartment because it's detached. Toronto EO4 Dorset Park, and the postal code is there. Okay, now I'm just going to go here for a moment and try to click over to the next tab and come. Oh, sorry, not that one. And come. Oh, can create it here. Sorry, it's the next screen I'm going to show you guys. I am loving this too, because as you go across the tabs, it's letting you know right away if you've missed a mandatory field. So any of you have tried to load your own listing and you get to the very, very end and you click and it goes, oh, you're missing these 6 things. And then you're trying to go back and see where in that little checkbox did I forget to check something, or where did I forget to put information, right? So this is going to tell me right away if I try to proceed and I don't fill out a mandatory field, which I love. So we'll fill out this first page first, and then I'll make it show me that it's missing something. So assessment roll number, another great feature. We don't have to go pull it up, bring it over, copy and paste it into our listing. It's already there because it's pulling it from the address that I've entered off the first page. It's got the PIN number, Toronto, EO4, Dorset Park, the 9 Ashdean Drive. Great. Street direction, I don't need. Postal code is there already. Fronting on. Okay, so we're going to do the fronting on real quick. It's a very quick Google search you guys need to do. If you guys are loading from a previous listing, do not be guaranteed that that realtor knows or that agent knows or that it was correct, because I always like to let you guys know that whatever you're loading in your listings, you're liable for, right? And a lot of people mess up fronting on. They don't understand the concept of it. I find a lot of listings I look and I go, that's incorrect, especially when you're making an offer. So you should always check it when you're making an offer and when you're loading a listing, right? So I'm going to go quickly here to the map. It's always nice when I got 17 things open on my screen. So 9 Ashdean. Okay. So here's Ashdean. It's a north-south running street, more or less. So there's going to be east and a west frontage. Okay. So it is where the front door is facing, what the frontage of the lot is, what side of the street that is. So this is on the east side of the street. So I'm going to say that this is fronting on the east. Okay. Do you guys all get that? Everybody get it online?
No, sorry. How do you get this fronting on east?
So you see, here's that property here.
Yeah.
Right. And Ashdean is running north south. So we always say never eat shredded wheat, right? Like north, east, south, west, right? Okay. This is the east side of the road. The front of the house is on the east side of the road, right?
Yeah.
So when they're talking about frontage, they're talking about how many feet you have on what side of the road. Mm-hmm. So this property, if it's say 50 feet wide, which we're going to check in a minute, it's 50 feet on the east side of the road. So it's fronting on the east side of the road.
If I don't know, that's like STD is the north, south, or east.
It's always the same. So maps, when you pull up maps,
yes,
north is always up. right?
That's it, yes.
Because the compass is always like, I don't know, I don't even think Google Map
Yeah,
puts a
yeah.
compass on anymore, do they? But it's always north on top, east, south, west, right? So you know when you're looking at here that would be the east for sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Did you have a question, sir? Or I thought I saw your hand up over there.
It's a good question.
No, it's a really, really good. No, like I say, I try to go over these little details because don't take for granted. Like I'm telling you, this is not only important for listings. Check it when you're doing your offers because you're putting that offer together for your buyer. And a lot of these agents, they don't get it. Like they get confused, which is fine. It's nothing wrong. It's just you want to make sure you're putting down the correct information, right? In your offers and in your listings. Okay.
So left side is north, right side is
Up is north.
Up is north,
Yeah.
down is south.
Down is south, right? East and west. The easiest way as kids, we always used to say never eat shredded wheat. You know the cereal, shredded wheat? But you can make anything up, you know what I mean? N-E-S-W,
East
right?
is always right. Right side.
Yeah,
North
east is always right, south down, west this way. Yeah. So, okay, so I'm going to say this is fronting on the east side of the street. And the legal description. It's funny here now that they leave it blank because they pulled our assessment roll information and stuff like that. But where do you find the legal description of a property? There's two places. You can check on Geo Warehouse or you can check on public records. Okay. If you have the old listing pulled up, it's super easy to find. You can click on the top here, right? Geo Warehouse, our property line. Or it's located on our gray panel on the side on the left. Public records and Geo Warehouse. Okay. The only difference is if I'm already on the listing, I can conveniently click on it. It'll bring me right to the address. So I can pull up, say, property line right here. No match was found, of course. Okay, let's go see if it's actually something that we can find. Maybe that's why it's not automatically pulling it into realm, right? Okay. We'll just look up something fake anyways, because it's not for real. But we'll see if we can find this 9 Ashton here. No, it's coming up here. So it's not automatically pulling it for me, but it is finding it when I type. I'm just going to do a quick thing and make sure it's the same address because there might be 2 9 Ashteens. So I'm going to take a look at the assessment roll number. It ends in 0700, right? And I'll go and I'll see what did it automatically put here for me for assessment roll number 0700. So I would check every single number if I was actually loading this, but I'm going to say more or less this is definitely the property I'm looking for. So I found it this way and I can see the frontage is 45 and the depth is 111. Okay. The other place you can check is Geo Warehouse. So again, you can click from the listing. Let's see if this actually works for Geo. Yeah, it's not working from the listing. It must be something glitchy in Stratus right now. So you can go to Geo Warehouse here. Okay, and I'm going to type in the address here, 9 Ashteen. And search it. No results found. Isn't that funny? Oh, because I spelled it wrong. There we go. And I'm going to pull up the property report. Okay. And last sale 0, and it's giving me the lot size here. And then this is giving me the legal description here. Okay. So I can pull the legal description off of here or Geo Warehouse. Either one is acceptable. Okay. And I'm just going to do a quick copy and paste. So I'm just going to highlight it. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go back into the listing. And I'm going to go paste. Okay. And then the lot front, we were saying off of property line, it said it was 45 by 111. And again, not only your listings, your offers, don't write what's on the listing that the agent wrote, because you can't, if you make a mistake and Trabarico comes or your buyer's lawyer comes to you, you can't say, but it was on that agent's listing, right? You're liable. So you should always be checking. You should be on the regular, whether you're doing offers or listings in Geo Warehouse and in property line, checking the information, the legal description, the lot, all of that stuff, the owner's names, right? Another important one, because very often you'll find that they only put one owner on and there's 2 on title, right? So you want to check that. So anyways, I'm going to go put 45 by 111 for the depth. Okay. And I know that this is feet. Okay. And then these aren't mandatory, but I mean, you can click around in them and see what things you can put. So if I've put 45 by 0, for instance, because it's a pie-shaped lot, I might let them know pie-shaped lot or a regular lot. I put something in that description there. The acreage, if you want to let them know approximately what the acreage is, you can do that. The zoning, if you know, and you want to put it in. But again, none of them are mandatory, okay? So I'm going to go and I'm going to click next, and it's going to go to amounts and dates, okay? But I just want to backtrack for a second, because one of the features that since I've been training in this and learning in this is that I find when you don't fill out the information, so say I take out something that's mandatory, like the lot depth, and I don't put anything in here. Normally this wouldn't be highlighted red, it's because I'm just deleting it, but say you've forgotten to fill it, and I go over to the next tab, it gives me a big caution sign here at the top. So I don't have to wait till the very end and then go back and find the little field where I've missed a checkbox or missed some mandatory information. I know it's in that tab and it's quick to find and it's highlighted. So already I'm loving Realm, because I hate it when I go to load my listing and I'm like, oh, what did I forget? You know what I mean? So really, really good function. Super user friendly that way. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the amounts and dates. So a lot of this is, you know, again, what you've done with your client, right? So we're just going to pretend we're listing for $9.99, right? And the taxes are $2,400. The tax year is 2022. So what's the rule on taxes? You always try to get the most updated information from your client. That's what Treb wants to see. And usually the case before, and I find they've become more lenient on it. I don't know whether they've just lifted it. It used to be the rule that they wouldn't let us enter if it was 6 or 7 months into the year. By the time we got halfway in the year, they wanted that year's stats. Okay. But now they always give us the option. We can put 2021, which is fine. But yeah, so you can pick 2021, 2022. So make sure if they bought 3 years ago, you're not putting that old information, because it could have been reassessed, especially since you don't know whether maybe your client's renovated or they've been reassessed by the city, the taxes have changed. You want to ask them for a tax bill and figure out what the taxes are, the current taxes. So assessment and assessment year is not mandatory. You can pull that information off of MPAC. I don't know why you would though, because it kind of makes the value look lower, which is what we want. We like our assessed value to keep low because that's what the city is taxing us on, but we don't want that because we're trying to market it for a higher price, right? But I mean, maybe if it's a really good assessment, you know what I mean, and you're selling it for close to that, it sometimes looks like a good thing.
So, sorry, I have a question. So
Yes.
what do you do if the property, if it's a new build and property taxes are not assessed yet? So can you put like 0 or?
Yes, so you can put 0, and you have to put in the remarks, as per Treb, you have to say taxes are not yet assessed. Same if you're putting up assignment sales and stuff like that with the maintenance fees. You have to say maintenance fees approximately, I don't know, 48 cents per square foot as per builder, not confirmed yet, you know, because it's not built yet. But you just put it's not assessed, but it has to be in your remarks when you put a 0 there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the contract commencement is the day that you have to start showing the property. So we're just going to say we're loading it today. And the expiry date, whatever, we'll just say it expires in 3 months from now. Pick a date here. Possession date. So here you can put an exact date if your client wants to be out by November 20th. They want to match the date with something else that they purchased. So you could put November 20th in here. Okay. So this looked like it was a mandatory field, but because I filled out this, now I don't have to fill out possession remarks. If I delete this, right, it's going to tell me I'm deleting a mandatory field, but watch what happens. You see that star came back for possession remarks. You have to fill out one or the other when you're loading a listing. If you don't have a particular exact date in mind, you could put TBA, TBD, you know, to be determined, to be, you know, announced, to be decided, TBD, whatever you want to put. Okay. And then see, once I go there, it takes the red away from possession date. So it's one or the other. Okay. And then the holdover days. What does holdover days mean? Does everybody fully understand a holdover day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's good with a holdover day. So basically it's just from the date of expiry of the listing, that 90 days after your expiration, if anybody comes to purchase the property that you introduced. So through your listing, through your open house, clients you've shown, they can't come back and purchase the property. So this is important because back in the day before they had this holdover clause, somebody would say, you know what, my agent only has this property for another week. Come to me in 2 weeks, I'll sell it to you for less because then I don't have to pay them commission. So they put holdover in place to protect us for our work that we've done for the duration of the listing, right? So very important thing. It's not just a random number we plug in there, okay? And then we're gonna go to seller name. Where do we find the seller name? That is in Geo Warehouse. So it's Anne and Melville, right? So Anne and Melville get to go in this spot here. So we can just copy and paste, making sure I didn't do any spelling mistakes to their name. Okay, that's the names on title. And the mortgage comments, you don't have to put anything in here. It's not a mandatory field. You could put treat as clear. You could put vendor take back available. You could put any comments in there that pertain to the mortgage if you feel there's something that go in there. So I'm going to go next. Okay, exterior. So we'll just go quickly over this. You guys are all smart to load your listings, but I like the drop down lists in these now that you can see. They're really easy to use. So we're just going to say detached, great, link, nope. Parcel of tied land, no. Let's pretend for a minute it is a parcel of tied land, okay? This is good because it's condensed everything into a nice, clean format that we can use. It's not tiny lettering, there's nice, clean boxes. And it also has functions like if it was a parcel of tied land, yes, it's reminding you, hey, okay, I just changed this. Now you have to put in what the parcel of tied land monthly fee is, okay? So we'll just change that back to no, because I don't want that to be mandatory right now. And then this isn't mandatory. The style, we're gonna say it's a 2-story. I don't know what it is. Exteriors, what's the exterior? I'm gonna say it's brick, detached garage, parking spaces 2, okay? Again, here's another one where we get tripped up on. So we've got a double car garage with a big driveway in it, right? 2 garage spaces, okay? Then I'm going to go here and I'm going to say the driveway is a private driveway and there's 2 parking spaces in the driveway. The total is the 2 of these together, right? Because people want to know how many cars can I park, and it's 4, right? 2 and 2, 4. 2 in the garage, 2 in the driveway. This is the sewer. Sorry, I clicked off of it there. Water, yeah. So water, most of it's municipal sewers when we come across it in Toronto. Do we have a pool? I'm going to say none, right? And retirement community is not mandatory, but if you know if it is, or physically handicapped equipped, like maybe there is a ramp they've put in or something, you can put that in to help your listing, especially if it's in an older community kind of area. Special designation most of the time is unknown what we're dealing with, but don't assume, try and check it out. If you have an older home that you're dealing with and you think it might be something, definitely go and do a search of it. Approximate age is not mandatory, same with the square footage, right? The property features you could put in to help boost your listing. So if there's a beach close by, or, you know, if there's golfing, whatever you want to put here, okay? Electric car charger that somebody installed in the garage, this is all adding value. Take time to not just load basic listings, because this is adding value to your listing and help push your listing faster, right? Especially now when things are kind of sitting sometimes a little bit. Other structures, okay? Water supply type, they don't need because we just put it to municipal water. Farm or agricultural, there you go. Don't need to put any of this, it's not mandatory. If you're loading and you don't know what something is, you can call me. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to think it's silly, even if you think it's a basic question. I had someone ask me the other day, you know, utilities available. What does that mean? It's not a rental, right? They were kind of confused. It just means, like, especially if you're selling a vacant land or something up north, sometimes the utilities aren't available, like Enbridge or Hydro hasn't run the services to that. So that's what that was. And somebody said, oh, I think it's such a silly question. I said, no, it's a good question. It's better, you know, if you're loading the listing, right? So call and ask, I don't mind. Okay. And then waterfront, this whole section, I don't believe anything on here is mandatory unless you're actually dealing with a waterfront property. Okay. So cottage country, stuff like that, you can look that up. Again, ask me if you don't know. Number of rooms. So we're going to pretend this is a 2+1. We've got a basement apartment. Oh, sorry, total number of rooms. I'm spazzing here for a second. How do we count the total number of rooms? Another question that I get asked very often when people are loading the listing.
That's
They
the
go,
biggest
what?
question I have.
Right. They go, what is this 6 plus? I don't get it. Right. So imagine we have in this house that we're pretending to load right now. We have a kitchen, we have a living room, we have a dining room. Okay. And we have 3 bedrooms. Okay. I'm going to say that this is a 6. Okay. And in the basement now we have an apartment. So I've got a kitchen, I've got a living room. I don't have a dining room because it's just a basement apartment. And I have a 1 bedroom. I'm going to say this is 6 plus 3. Okay. Now imagine we change that a little bit. We'll go back to upstairs. We have kitchen, we have living, we have dining room, we have 3 bedrooms, and we also have a family room in the back. Now I'm going to put 7. Whoops, 67, that's a big house. 7. And in the basement, I didn't have much room. I just put a little like, studio kind in there, like a bachelor, right? So I'm going to put that there's a kitchen and basically another space beside the kitchen. I would put, that's a tough one because I made it a bachelor. I would probably just put 1 because literally there's only 1 other room in the basement. So you have to think about what you're listing. It's not a hard and fast answer. If you're confused, you could say, okay, I've got this house. I'm not sure if I should count this. We don't count washrooms, just like we most of the time don't load washrooms unless it's a huge one that we want to showcase and say something about in our listing. We don't have to itemize and give the length and the width of those, right? We don't count them in the number of rooms either. Is it cleared a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So number of bedrooms is required. So obviously we deal with the main living space first. We're pretending this is a 3 bedroom and that we've got a 1 bedroom basement apartment. So 3 plus 1. Plus 1 is something that's not on the main, where the main bedrooms area is, where the main sleeping quarters are, okay, in the house. So a lot of times people will say, well, it's 4 plus 1 because there's an office on the main floor and they could use it as a bedroom too. You still have to itemize that as a plus, okay? So if it's a 2-story and you have 3 bedrooms upstairs and I had an office on the main floor, right, that somebody could use as a bedroom, I want to showcase it as a bedroom, and they have a basement apartment, I would put 3 bedrooms plus 2 because they're not where the main sleeping quarters are. If I'm a family and I'm moving in with 3 small children and I need 4 bedrooms and I come to see this house you've advertised saying it's 4 bedrooms and there's 1 on the main floor, a lot of people don't like that if they're looking for 4 bedrooms all in the same sleeping quarters, right? And it's a bonus for you to sell it like that too, because if there's an elderly parent or somebody that's, disabled or needs a main floor bedroom, they're going to see that your listing is plus 1 in a different area on this 2-story house, right? So there's perks. Be clear with your descriptions though in your listing so you can clearly showcase what you're selling. And then the kitchens are the same. So kitchen, it's 1 on the main floor, right? And I've made this a basement apartment. So I'm going to say it's a plus 1 kitchen. Okay. And the washrooms, they want you to itemize them. So I'm going to say there's 1 2-piece on the main floor. Okay. 1 4-piece. Do we all know how to itemize washrooms? That's another one I think that gets tricky. Did they make this? Second, yeah, they spelled it out now. And I'm going to say 1 3-piece on the second. Okay. So what are our washroom pieces? Just like we're counting total rooms in the house, our washroom pieces are toilet, right? Sink and shower. That'd be a 3-piece. Toilet and sink, like a powder room, would be a 2-piece. Toilet, sink, shower, and tub. Now we got 4. Even if the shower and the tub are like the same, which they generally are, right? Toilet, sink, shower, tub, jacuzzi, you know what I mean? Then you go into 5 pieces. So you're itemizing what the amenities are in the bathroom. So if you're confused, like, oh my God, what does that mean? That's what that means when they ask you to itemize. Is it 2 pieces or 3-piece? So again, you got a young family, they have babies to bathe in the tub and your house only has 3 pieces. It might be something they bypass because they don't want the showers, they want tubs, right? So you're just itemizing to let the people know, the public know, when they're looking at the listings on Realtor. Family room. So I was explaining when we were itemizing how we count the different rooms. Family room, I see a lot of people check yes, and it's not a family room, it's just a living room. A family room is in addition to the living room, okay? So there you have a living room space, right? Where you put your couches and you sit. But if there's an additional room where you can also do that on the main level, then you're going to itemize that as a family room. So it more, I guess in the realm of things, a lot of people use sort of one as a formal living room, and the other one is the family room in the back or something in the house would be where they'd sit on the couches and watch TV during the day, right? So family room, you're not checking it just because there's a living room, okay? Fireplace, yes or no? We'll say this one, yes. Heat source, we're dealing mostly with gas forced air, unless you're dealing with something older that has electric or radiant heat, right? Air conditioning, we'll say it's central. UFI, what's UFI? What are we checking yes or no for UFI for? We don't have to, it's not a mandatory field. It's urea formaldehyde. If you're not sure, ask your owner, look at the age of the house, try and figure out, maybe get a pre-list inspection. They're spectacular when you're selling the property. If people are asking you these questions, not only about this, but the age of the roof and stuff like that. Central vac, no. We'll say laundry level is lower. We're gonna put the laundry in the basement. We'll go to the next page. Let's see what's next. So room details. This is, bye Harry. Pretty self-explanatory. So I'm just gonna fill out one. I'm not gonna go and try and itemize 7 bedrooms right now because I wanna get to a couple of other little things here. So we're gonna say that on the second floor, there's a primary bedroom, right? And I'm just gonna say, I don't know, it's 3.5 by 4.25. And then the description. So you can pick a whole bunch of descriptions. And I like this so much better than that long drop-down list that we used to have. I think it's more visually appealing, more user-friendly, this interface for sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna say this one has, I don't know, a large window. Okay, and go next. So remarks for clients. We all know the remarks for clients. The public can see that on realtor.ca. When they look, this is what you're showcasing your clients to your possible buyers. You want to really use good descriptive words, load a good listing, talk about things. The biggest thing I find is, yeah, you could put 3+2 bedroom, but then don't go on about all the details that you've already loaded in the listing. Those are details that they can see on the listing on realtor.ca. Try to showcase your property by talking about other things that we can't put in the regular mandatory fields. That's what this comment section is for. It's really close to a park. It's a family-friendly neighborhood. It's in a private cul-de-sac, no through traffic, right? Original owners, newly renovated, things that you can't put in the descriptions or in the mandatory fields up above, okay? The extras are here for what? Our chattels and fixtures and stuff. So we have fridge, stove, washer, dryer, standard stuff, but don't be afraid to put in other things, like maybe they built a bar downstairs. We have no word that we could put a bar anywhere else in the listing. So this, you know, the basement features a beautiful renovated basement with a bar, or maybe they have a hot tub in the backyard. You know what I mean? Maybe they have a pergola, things that add value that people are thinking, okay, that's worth something for me to buy this house. You know, a couple grand for a pergola, you know, a couple grand for, more than a couple grand for a jacuzzi tub outside. And you're showcasing these things. You're drawing people in with your listing, getting them excited to come. Your job as an agent, especially now with everything being online, is to draw them in to see your property by your descriptions. So put a little life into it, put a little thought into it, and make it good, right? The remarks for brokerages. Now, the public can't see this. This is only things that we say agent to agent. Okay, so, you know, you want to ask them to add your Schedule B. Maybe you're having a set bid date. Maybe that they need to give 24 hours notice because it's tenanted. Maybe you're only showing, you can't show after 8 on Thursdays. I don't know, whatever you want to put in here, agent to agent comments. Okay. The other, you're putting in all your information, your beautiful information here. So you have to type in your phone number, right? So I'm the salesperson on this one. I'll just type in my phone number. And then you get to the cooperating commission, right? So we're offering 2.5%. I normally put plus HST. I've experienced, I don't know where my plus sign is on this one, but plus HST. Plus HST. I've experienced in the past that agents have argued and said didn't say plus HST. Now we all know commission comes with it, but you put anything in here that you need to put in that's necessary. I always have a habit of putting plus HST. Seller property information statement. So does anybody do them? I want to know if anybody does them. Does anybody online do them? Do you guys know them? Have you looked them up and see what they are? Okay. I don't know why they make this a mandatory field because I don't know anybody who uses them. Okay. Seller property information statement. Okay, so basically what it is, it's an excellent tool to take to your listing appointments. If you, especially if you're a newer agent or you don't remember the things to ask your clients, because it goes over the what you've done to the property, the condition of the property, right? So it has stuff like, when was the roof last done? How old is the furnace? Did you do any renovation? Like, it gives you good things to ask your clients. So I might get a client, not a client to fill it out or sign it, but it's a good tool to take along and go, hey, I forgot to ask them about the roof. Oh, I didn't ask about the age of the furnace. When were the ducts last cleaned? You know what I mean? Anything else you'd like to tell me? Any receipts you have? It's a really good statement, but it's a catch-22. I caution it. I don't know anybody that uses it, because now if I load this with my listing and the buyer comes and they go, that roof wasn't done 12 years ago, it was done 15 years ago or 14 years ago. You know what I mean? Now you've put your client liable on paper that they've written that it's 12 years exactly. People will hold your client to it. So you have to caution it, but don't be scared to grab it and take it to your listing appointment. I honestly, I would never use it on my listing ever. I don't know why they make it mandatory for so many years, because I really, truly have never come across anybody who loads them on the listing. Okay.
Okay, but I have a question.
Yeah.
For example, if you put it, for example, roof was 1 year old, right?
Mhm.
So the buyer agent, they can come back just for botheration, they give us a receipt or give us any proof that, it was done, let's say 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
So never, unless you have a receipt in hand, always put approximately. You know what I mean? So I would say, newly renovated kitchen approximately 3 years ago, because my client's telling me, but if you're not giving me a receipt, we just did the roof this last summer. I'll go, oh, roof less than a year old. No problem. I won't put approximately. Right? Because people will ask you to back it up. And like I say, you might think that it's just remarks that you're putting in your listing. You have to be mindful that we're insured for a reason by RICO, because we're 100% liable for everything we put in that listing at the end of the day, right? So yeah, unless if you don't know and they say, oh, I think the roof was done maybe 8 years ago, you could put approximately 8 years ago, right? Yeah, no problem.
So let's say you put something in there, because I had an instance where someone called me and it was saying that the electricity was included, and later on, like a year later or something, they found out that it wasn't included.
In the maintenance fees?
Yeah.
That's huge. That's bad.
What happens?
So
Get recourse, basically.
So you'd have to go to the lawyer and go back on it. So there's a couple of reasons that shouldn't have been missed, because you're saying what's included in the maintenance fees in the description, in your condo description. So there's two people liable in that situation. It's not just you, it's not just the listing agent, but it's also the lawyer, because he's reviewing the status certificate. The status certificate is saying what is covered by the maintenance fees, and in your agreement of purchase and sale, he should be matching those two up, right? So you'll have to prove as a buyer agent to kind of get, the heat not on you, that you did your due diligence. So normally you say, okay, I looked at the listing. I like to compare to a few other recently sold as well in the building to see if they have the same inclusions, heat, hydro, water, or is there like a discrepancy? If there's a discrepancy, you can ask the listing agent, send them a text. If not, get used to reading status certificates, right? Because you want to check too. It comes to your hand before it goes to your client, before it goes to the lawyer, right? I actually do training sessions on, I've done it at least once or twice here too. I'll go over it again, maybe sometime soon. We'll do status certificates again. You can go and look it up in there as well, right? But what basically at the end of the day, you want to show that you did everything for your buyer client to know that that was the correct information, right? Because it's a listing agent's fault for listing it that way. Yeah, but you also have to prove you didn't do any wrong by, you had to check on it, you verified it. And then the lawyer too, I'm surprised the lawyer missed that. Usually it gets to the lawyer's point and then you feel dumb. You're like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't check the status certificate. Sorry. You know what I mean? And the lawyer will say, hey, how come you said water's included, but the status certificate does not say that?
So
right?
what's the recourse for the client?
The recourse for the client is they can go after all three of you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the listing agent has a status certificate. He's in charge of that information. They might even go after the sellers as well, because they're signing the listing paperwork. They should notice it. It's changing so many hands that it should have got caught at some point, right? Yeah.
So all three, when you say buyer agent and listing agent?
Buyer agent, listing agent,
And the
lawyer, yeah, and the sellers. Yeah, because everybody is saying that that's the
Sellers, basically. It's sellers and their realtor, because they're the one who amended this.
But you will also get complaint to Rico that, you know, you
Yeah.
cannot do your duties.
Yeah, so just because, say I list something that is, I say to you, it's a residential detached. And we sign it all up and then we realize there's a parcel of tied land fee associated with it, right? I may have mislisted it, but when you purchased it for your client, did you go check property line? Did you see that it was a detached freehold? Did you see if it was a condominium? Did you, the buyer agent is just as liable. Don't be fooled, because we always say, oh, that guy listed it wrong. It's, you know, why did he do that? If he's incorrect and he's the one to blame. But Rico is really big on putting the onus on everybody. What did you do to protect your buyer client? And you'll get pulled in as much as they will with a complaint. Yeah. So you have to keep everything carefully. Like, I text the listing agent and then I checked the last few in the building and they all had the same information. And, you know, then we gave the status certificate to the lawyer, you know what I mean? And it's written like that in my contract. So, you know, I really tried everything. You have to kind of prove that you did everything. You did your due diligence to do your best job, right? And even sometimes then you get slapped on the wrist for doing like a mistake, right? So it's difficult for sure. Okay, we still got time. Seller property information statement, so that's great. Energy certificate, you don't need that. It's not 100% mandatory. Certification level, green property information statement, fine. Distribute to internet, so we're always putting yes. Okay, we want it on the internet. We want it on realtor.ca. Display address on internet. Okay, we want people to find when they're looking in certain pockets, we want the address there so they know they can Google it. They can see if it's close to the school that they want, things that'll help us find it. Unless our client has issues with it, like if they're, you know, I don't know, having a really terrible divorce, they don't want their ex to know they're selling. They might not want their address on the internet. So there might be reasons, but 99% of the time we're doing yes. Okay. Distribute to DDF IDX. Do we know what this is? What if your client asks you when you're signing the MLS listed data sheet, why am I signing this? What does this mean? DDX and IDF, DDF and IDX are the portals that all these other companies subscribe to. So House Sigma, Zillow, all of these ones that our clients use as resources, right? As soon as Treb loads it, it autofills to their websites. Their website have to subscribe to DDF and IDX. Okay. So I had a client once who was really ticked off at me and I didn't understand why. And that was really early on. I want to say like 14 years ago, easily. And 12 years ago, maybe, I don't know, whenever the first Zillow, I think it was Zillow, came out, and she goes, oh my God, why did you advertise my house? You know, back then it was for a small amount, for 330,000, you know, I want 390,000. And I said, I didn't advertise. What are you talking about? Right. And so I realized that this portal Zillow was subscribing to, throwing it on. And if you guys ever go, they go approximate value. They give you an approximate value for that area. And they were way under what she wanted for her property. So she was terribly mad. And I thought, well, how do I fix this? And I was calling, you know, the customer support off of their website and everything. And I realized through Treb, when I called them, that this is what this function is. So super important, you know what it is. It seems like something we just check yes or no to. We don't understand it, but it's important. If you don't like the way your property is being advertised on House Sigma, you're saying, what are they doing? Or I don't want it to show up there. Or your client says it to you. You should be clicking no here. Most of the time we want yes, because we like the exposure, right? The more people that we expose the property to, the more likely we're to have a buyer to give us the high price, right? So we want yes, but there may be reasons why you want no at the end of the day, okay? And permission to contact the listing brokerage to advertise. So I always put yes, I'm open to it. You guys can put no. If you don't want agents calling you saying, hey, can I advertise your property? At the end of the day, I don't think, unless I have a really exclusive listing, I don't want anybody else to think that they got, fine, but I don't mind if other agents advertise. I think, you know, it's good advertising for the property, bring more people in, but it's totally up to you and your style. Nobody's judging you. You can click no all day long, right? This one is totally 100% for you.
What could be downside of that? So if they're advertising.
So maybe you have this farm area that you've worked so hard on, right? EO4 Dorset Park is your area. Java gets all the listings from this. You know how there's certain realtors that annihilate a certain area.
Yeah.
And you have a listing that you might say yes to advertise anywhere else, but in this area, you don't want him to advertise because he might send a flyer now and say just listed, and the public is presuming it's his listing and his property, right? And now you're saying, hey, I've spent so long to have popularity in this area. I don't want that guy to have a listing in my farm area, right? Or say you get a $3 million listing. You might not let somebody else advertise it because you don't want them to, you don't want the public to perceive it's their listing, because that's the reason they're asking you to advertise. It's a lot of new agents do it, but a lot of popular agents do it too, because if you take the time, the next time you get a flyer in your mailbox, I encourage you, somebody popular in your area or somebody who does one of those flyers, you know, where they say, sold, you know, just listed, and it's got like about 20 properties on it. Look how impressive I look, right? Go, if you have the time, go into each one of those properties. I guarantee you that guy who on the front of the flyer hasn't listed all those properties. He's asked permission to advertise. Do you see what I mean? So you're giving these realtors a little more power to get popular and to get people to call them, because they're giving the perception to the public that it's their listing by advertising, right?
Yeah.
I don't mind if a new agent throws a flyer and says just listed. It's helping me push my property, especially in a tough market right now. I'm not that offended by it, but there has been reasons why I've chosen no at times for certain, like if I get a listing in my farm area or if I get a really good one I don't want to share, right? Because it's your hard work. So totally your choice. Open house times, great, no problem. Occupancy, we're going to say this one's vacant. Contact after expired. So this is for your clients. I just explained them. It kind of puts them on a realtor do not call list. So while their number might not be private, they can be on a do not call list for realtors. Realtors don't listen to it because you guys know when I train you, I tell you to call expired and terminated, even if it says no to contact after expired. But you're going to put no to try to lessen those calls that your clients are going to get. Because as soon as it goes sold, other agents are calling your clients. Just because it's your client and you sold the property, don't assume you're getting the buy, because they might promise them the world. Hi, I'll give you cash back if you use me. I saw you just sold your property. You know, we can go look. I saw lots of good listings in this area, right? Agents are calling your clients when you sell properties. Agents are also calling your clients if your listing's about to expire. They're not supposed to call what's under contract, but usually a few days, a week before you're expiring, or if it has expired and you're going to list it in a week and you kind of keep it off the market for a week, agents are calling your clients because this is kind of supposed to discourage it, right? By putting them on a sort of agent do not call list. Okay, here you can add lots of different things. So most of the time we're adding our virtual tours. We have to keep in mind they cannot be logoed in any way. They can't be advertising. So you can't have your name, your face, your brand name, your logo, nothing. You can't have anything on it. But you can also add different things if you have, you know, additional pictures, feature sheets, whatever you want to put here in this section. Okay. And then photos, again, pretty standard. It's how we were loading them before. I don't know if I have any photos on this laptop necessarily, but you just click on it. Then you're going to pick your pictures that you want to add. There's my license there in my laptop. And then attachments. So here's where we put our Schedule Bs, our floor plans, our disclosures, anything else that we need to add to our listings, we put over here in this section. And then you're going to load it. I'm not going to load it right now. So you're going to load it from here. But do you guys have any questions about what we covered today? It's really user friendly. So don't be scared. I know some people, like I say, people call me in a panic. Anytime something like this happens, they go, Christine, I went to go add my listing and it's totally different. I go, it's okay. Go in, play around with it. This one, I'm really super happy with it so far. Sometimes I get a little frustrated when you're learning something new, like the first couple tries of the new Authentisign, I was getting a little frustrated, but now I love it. Once you learn it, this was pretty easy right from the get-go, super user-friendly. Just go in and pretend to load your own house or something online and try it out, right? And like I say, I didn't go into it, but when you go into it, you can go, discard. You can go and you can do a status training mode. So, oh, I don't know if it's, see, it's glitchy now. Oh, okay, did it let me click?
So once we get listing agreement signed, so we don't have to give it to the office anymore.
You don't have to. Now, if you're busy, that's our office function. You can totally do it. But I always encourage you guys to load your listings. And it's a little bit scary if you're new, especially you don't know what to look for if you're liable. So it's also good to have the office load it in a sense, because we know what we're doing. But if you come in and you train a few times with me and you learn how to load it, it's a great tool, because if you have to go and edit your listing, what are you going to do? If you realize there's wrong information on there, and it's 10 o'clock at night, you gotta wait till the next morning till the ladies are there, you know what I mean, to book it. Like, or you say you just feel like changing the description, you want to know how to use this function to go in and take control of your listing, right? And look at your listing. Yeah, fix anything you want, load it, make sure the information's accurate. Like I say, we're liable for the information we put in there. If you give it to the front desk and they make a typo and they put the maintenance fees or I don't know, whatever numbers besides each other, you know, on the keypad there, say they put it's 360 instead of 660.
Yeah.
And you load, if you get the front desk to load, you still have to go and look at your listing, make sure the information's correct. You can't come and yell at any of the girls in the front and say, hey, you put 360 and it's 660. Nope, because you're listing, you're the one gonna get in trouble. They don't have a real estate license, right? They're administrative staff at the end of the day, right? So they have to, they enter as best as they can for you guys, but you guys still have to know how to go into your listing, edit it if something incorrect, make sure all the information's correct. Go check it on Geo, go check it on public records, all of that stuff.
So
Yeah.
this information can help us to prepare a listing agreement which we need to get signed from the client. So that would be same way, whatever we are.
So good question. And we can actually, you just inspired me to look really quickly. I don't know if I don't have anything. So from the old ad edit, I don't have one going right now. I don't have a MLS data sheet filled out yet. So if you've created a kit and you're filling out your MLS data sheet in that kit, there is a function at the top to load your listing, right? Have you guys used that before? Okay, so on the MLS data sheet at the top, hold on, let me see if I can go into homepage kind of quickly. You can go here, you go to your web forms.
Yeah.
Okay, I just don't know if they've paired it with Realm yet. I hope they keep that function. Let's see, it's a really good question. It'd be a shame if they didn't keep this function.
Yeah, that should be.
So yeah, so we go to the house here. We're just going to create something new real quick. I'm just going to do this real quick. Sorry, guys, if you're not catching on to the steps, because I just want to figure out if this works or not. It's going to go and I'm going to grab a freehold template, right? So freehold for sale, listing, save. Okay. And then I'm going to go into the MLS data sheet. Okay. So we send the form from here to Authentisign for our clients to sign it. Okay. This is why it's also good for you to know how to load a listing, because you give it to the girls, they re-enter all that information. You don't have to re-enter, at least you didn't have to. I'm praying they keep that function. But here, you see where this little box is?
Yeah.
Once you've filled it out, you can go upload listing. And what that does is it pushes it to the drafts section.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go over here to the drafts, what was the draft section? Let me go here, and you go to your drafts, and it would be here. And when you click on it, everything you entered in the MLS data doesn't have to be re-entered, right? This works for the old ad edit function. I don't know yet if it works for Realm, because even now when I pushed it, did you notice it didn't ask me to use Realm? I really hope they connect the two. There's going to be kinks to work out. So they've rolled it out for us to use. But honestly, like even just today, I'll take a quick look and see if it's working. I tried to clone a listing because I was going to show you guys how to not have to re-enter all the information and clone a listing. I didn't go over that today because clone wasn't working. So try now. I go edit listing. Okay, so these are all my options. It wants me to plug in an MLS number. So I went and I just grabbed any MLS number. Right, I come here, I put the MLS number in, and it's just, it's not, it was working a week ago when I was using this, and for some reason today it's not working, right? So that's another way. Hopefully if we can't push it, at least if it's an old listing, we could put the majority of the information in by cloning the listing. But it's glitching right now because it's a new, it was working the other day and now it's not working today. So yeah, but go in and try it again and see if you can clone it here. But yeah, hopefully they'll still let us push it from our MLS data sheet, because we've already entered the information. You don't want to have to enter it twice every time, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, it's been good to see.
If you use edit, so you can copy the previous listing, whatever, and then you can double check if everything is correct.
Yeah, and then you just go through, you just don't have to fill out every field, but you should still be reading every field to make sure nothing's changed. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
helpful.
All right, well, now you guys all have to go get a listing this week. So you can learn how to use the new ad edit, and then, you guys can call me if you get stuck. All right, perfect. Everybody good online there?
Thank you for your help.
No problem. Everybody good online? Did everybody have any questions? I know sometimes the internet cuts out here. We've been getting that, and I know it cuts out time to time. Sorry about that. I see it. It lets me know on my end. It says internet connection unstable or something.
No problem. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good evening, everyone.